That used to be our field berries, and we had to go through this every year, spring, and then one more time in July, and we should have done it third time in fall. So this is how it looks. Again, I'm comparing field berries to high tunnels, and perhaps it's not a fair comparison, but we used to spend a tremendous amount of time weeding. So I think this trellising. Any questions so far? That's clear. Yes.
Could you go back a slide, please, or do one more? That one. So is this where you made the mistake of adding 5 rows?
I'm sorry?
Is that your 5-row example? You said it should have been 4?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. That was-
That's a mistake.
So those ones are 4 feet, your landscape fabric is 4 feet, but you
Got it.
should be 5 feet.
Well,
on the-
yeah.
On the ones that you,
Yes,
ideally,
correct.
okay.
Yeah, that's a mistake. Although it's producing like crazy, you can get like 2,000 pints out of that baby, right? But ultimately, if I have to do it again, and that's what we did with the fourth one, with the third one, it went 4 feet. It took me 2 times to figure it out, but okay, trellising, that's a must. I mean, this is one of those things you cannot avoid. And again, avoid the same mistake we made, and I did not elaborate on the mistakes we made visually, but we began with a T-bar. Oh yeah, T-post. 2 at the end with an anchor down the ground. So those end up being 4 feet. So then one more in center and one at the end. Well, plants could be this tall, so they were not held. And then that anchor down to the ground was very dangerous, trying to step over that. And ultimately, we had to add in between. You'll be surprised, and you'll see that. You'll be surprised the weight that berries add to your plants and to a trellis. So, again, considering the plants can reach 6 to 8 feet, you need to account for that, which we did not the first year. Never thought. Again, you'll see the Joan Jay, the one we grow, they say 4 to 6 feet, and we're about 5 feet, we should be okay. Well, the plants turn out to grow 6 to 8 feet. So, please take advantage of our mistakes in the past. The plants really need to be supported. And because you're limited by space, width-wise, you really have to train them to be within those. So it's critical. So I'm going to go through the nuts and bolts of that. So ultimately, what we do is we put down, again, this is the 5-row, a 4x4 post, 10 foot tall, and I don't know if you can see here, right here, there's a little hook there that's really connected to the high tunnel. That's how we added the tension to it. Then we have these lateral braces, preferably 4 sets per. We only have 3 here, so we basically 1, 2, 3. We would have probably had 1 more down here. In the midsection, this is kind of drawn. We have additional posts every 20 feet. And again, initially the first year we put 1 in center, thinking that would be enough. But really the weight of the plants onto the pencil wire is too much. So basically I'm only showing 2 here, but you want to add 3 of those to really keep your plants in the row, to prevent what you saw earlier, the picture that you saw earlier, where the plants all over the place. The braces are about spaced 18 inches height-wise. And then the wire that we have here is a thin soled, it's like the pants type, 16 gauge, I believe. What we do is we put it 18 inches down. So the plant part enter. Yes. Well, and you'll see the height. I mean, these are screwed to your 4x4. They can be adjusted. But your first one, you put 18 inches, so you force your plants to go in a narrow space. And the top one, you may want to do that 20 inches, so there's a little more space, so your plants really open up. So the sun can come through. One thing is I've never gone through, but I've got to do it. Oh. These here. Now, so pretend you see this, you have this wire. Your plants, because they grow 6 to 8 feet, and depending on the variety, some of them 3 weeks, they will lean that way, and they will lean within the rows themselves, badly. So in some fashion, it's not a bad idea every foot or so to put a side brace of some kind. It could be an old drip line that you can attach. It could be twine, baling twine, whatever it is, so that your plants just grow there and they don't fall down. Make sense? And believe me, depending on the variety, that's what's going to happen. Yes?
And then you're using the T-posts except for the ends. Is that what you're doing?
Correct.
Okay.
And not 5 foot ones, but 7 foot ones. Now, yes.
Just a thought, I mean, and first, are you pruning back to a certain number of liters per plant?
Yes,
or
yes.
How many, I just, it's part of the question.
Oh, 6, 7?
I'm just curious if there's any thought, or you know of anybody who's taken advantage of the structure you have overhead to, you know, trellis from above, almost like you would tomatoes or cucumbers or something like that.
I thought about that, and I haven't thought hard enough to do it. Yes, because of your braces and your furrows, you probably could do something. I've been thinking about it.
Structurally, it probably is not designed.
Well, yes, you're right, it depends, because this is kind of whimsy up there. It's not very strong. But I don't think it would add that much weight to it. But that works. Again, why not stick with what works, right? And,
Right.
and hey, listen, if a raised trellis of some kind that you're talking about would work, fine, but I tend to stick, I mean, and listen, we've been married for 33 years, so, you know, I'm happy with how things work, right?
Anne's shaking her head.
1985 to do the math.
Careful when he changes trellising system.
Not cheap, not cheap. 500 to, it could be as much as $600. I mean, these posts are $14 a piece, you 2x4, a 5,000 foot roll of pencil wire, that's $50. Oh, and one thing I forgot, did I say ratchet somewhere? Yes. How do we tie those wires lengthwise? We've tried 3 things. Little tiny whimsy little things that never work, so you don't understand what they are. We have plastic ones, you get a Tractor Supply, that you put a wire on each side and then crank them. But they're plastic, they will break. Every single one has broke. And you can see that's what we are here, 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 here. We finally ended up using the pencil wire ratchets, $3 a piece. So, not cheap. If you have 4 rows, that's 1 on each side. That's 8 of those, $24 times 4, $100 just in ratchets. But it really helps put tension on it, and that's what you want to have. Now, I think the real beauty to this is that comes right now. I haven't done it in a while. I'm going to unscrew this, unscrew that, and raise them all up to that level. So now I can have access to the plant, because we cut everything down. Cutting plants with wires there is a big pain. So, and it's easy. You just unscrew them and just raise them. Once you're all done, once you're all clean, we raise them all the way down, every single one of them. So as the plants grow, we then raise the top one to just follow. You talk about, yes, they're 18 inches. It really depends. You really need to follow. I mean, the best would be to have one every 6 inches.
You could pre-drill that with holes all the way up and just move it on the feet.
Yeah, but you know, just screw, yes, but just screwing them with,
Because those posts will last as well.
oh, yes, yes. So I think ultimately that system works really well for that. Believe me, once you go through many years of trimming or pruning plants with wires in between, that's the thing I really don't like forward to. So now I'm able to move all of these. It really helps. And you know, you can carry, the problem is when you have wires on each side, what are you going to do with those, you know, 8-foot tall brambles that are dead? You've got to bring them on one side and out. Well, with the wires being up, you can just go across. So, just again, one one-man operation. You need to make your life easier. Drainage, I think you're now familiar with the first high tunnel, the second high tunnel. What I've done is to dig a trench about 1.5 feet or so, about 2 feet from the edge. You don't want to go too close, otherwise it's going to compromise the structural aspect of your post. And what we do is put black plastic to prevent weeds from coming up. And in our case, the water starts here, drains here, and goes down the neighbor's field. Ideally, we should have a pipe, a drain pipe, and cover that, or put a bed of rocks, peat rocks, and then cover that with rocks, and that would be done forever. But rocks are very expensive. We have 3 high tunnels, so the cost adds up quite a bit. But if you only build in one, do it right the first time. You don't have to worry about it.
And you have that as an open trench, it just stays.
Yeah, it doesn't work that well because when it rains, they're just falling out, and you just shove it once in a while. And the water tends to stop right here, so it gathers here and kills our plants there. So it's not the best system, and it's not a completed system, and that's why I said ideally you put the rocks and do it right. But again, it's an issue of time, an issue of cost in our case. To me, I see digging that maybe once or twice a year as a better, easier alternative than, but if we were to do the right thing. Gutters, they were really, remember 900 gallons, 400 gallons on one side? That's a lot of water. The drench itself would not alleviate all that. So installing gutters, and some people push that further with a 1,000-gallon tank or a pump, so you can pump back the water. It's not a bad idea, but it's super expensive. I mean, 2 gutters in a tank can cost $1,200, $1,500. So I don't know if any of you have that kind of money to do that. And by collecting water, like any case, when it doesn't rain, you don't have the water. So, in our case, I don't see this as necessary, the tank that is. So gutters, we install gutters. This is somebody else's picture, I'll show you ours. They really work well, but my gosh, they're expensive. $125 a site, but they work well. And there's some issues with snow. This picture was taken Friday, when we had less than ½ an inch of rain, of snow. And it slides off, and then I think this tells you the picture, right? And there's no way to counter that. So imagine with the snow coming up in a couple of days, 2, 3 inches, what's going to happen? Much like it did last year. They're going to fall off, the wind's going to pick them up, they'll find them half a mile down the road. Maybe you can, and if you think, well, why don't you remove them in winter? Well, is that where you get the most water in the springtime? So there's another alternative that I'll be working on the 3rd high tunnel, and try to follow me here. A 4-inch PVC pipe, cut in half, and you, much like a gutter, you install it underneath your roller. So what happens? The water shedding really goes there. You don't have that issue, even though the snow falls on it, it's okay. And you really collect the entire water, and having it at a certain level, well, not level, rather, it drains well. I don't know how well it works. Somebody told me it works really well. Probably not that expensive.
Go with a solid gutter cover, it'll work well. Put that right on top of your gutter.
You mean this?
Yep, it'll fix that.
It will slide over?
Yep. And it'll keep all the weeds out, the grass and the trash.
Yeah.
It's called a, Menards, I think they have them.
Gutter
You
cover.
really gotta hunt for it, but it's a solid, it's no holes in it at all, but the tension on the water will take it down into the gutter. But it'll just shed that right off of there. I've had it on my house for probably 15 years now, never had to clean the gutter.
Yeah, but on your house, does the snow shed like it does on there?
Well, it'll still
I mean,
divide.
has anybody seen an inch or 2 inches of snow sliding from that when it falls down? It's like an avalanche. So, yeah, it may have worked, but I just don't like gutters. So, I will definitely try that option. And so this is how it looks. Again, it's just less than an inch of snow. Yes, sir.
Well, you got to hook to your track there?
Yeah.
Is that how you got it out?
Yeah.
Okay, where do you get the gutter? In the gutter at work or?
I need to speed up. I'm 10 minutes behind. Frost protection. It's a very cost-effective way to salvage your berries. It adds 3 to 4 degrees protection, and then you add that to the 3 to 4 degrees for the second layer, so you can harvest berries until December. And we, by experience, this is